Hi everyone, my name is Meg from Cook with Meg. Welcome to a brand new series. Maybe you've done videos with me before in my Cook with Meg kitchen, but if this is your first video, welcome. I am here to show you in this particular series all the basics. So for this video, we are covering basic kitchen tools. If you were starting out from scratch and you didn't really know where to begin, it can be a little overwhelming with, well, what do I need? Maybe you have kids who are getting to the age where they're about to go to college or university, or maybe they're moving into their first new apartment and they need the basics. This is what today's video will be. So this by no means you need all of these things, but I would say when I go to do a cook, I have to think about what are the tools that I use often. So we're just gonna go through them one by one. We'll talk about each one, why we use them, and then maybe you can have a pen and a paper or a pencil, jot them down. You can pause this video, you can rewind this video, and you can keep this as a comprehensive list of kitchen tools that are the basics, but also awesome. All right, I'm gonna show them to you and then I'll move them out of the way so that I don't talk about them twice. First and foremost, cutting board. You probably wanna have a couple of cutting boards in your kitchen, and I really enjoy the ones that have this little rubber grip. You can get them anywhere, they're very basic, but the rubber grip actually is really spectacular because it helps keep your surfaces nice and tight. So if you are cutting things, which we will get to in another video, you're not apt to have the cutting board slide around. When things slide, they can become slippery and a little bit dangerous. So first, a cutting board. I don't know if you can see from here, but this cutting board also has a bit of a groove that goes all the way around, which is actually for catching juice. Juice of, if you're cutting meat, if you're cutting veggies, if you're cutting, let's say, tomatoes or strawberries, you will get a lot of moisture coming off, and this is just sort of like a little drain trough, if you will. So a cutting board that's got the rubber grippy is really great, and potentially the little ring to catch the drips. This one does not have any of the drip catchers, but it does have these little rubber feet, which I love as well. But if you don't have one with rubber feet, you can actually just put a piece of paper towel. So take some paper towel, get it a little bit damp, squeeze out a little bit of the moisture, and then lay your piece of paper towel down underneath. Put your cutting board on top, and it should act as a gripper. You will learn that in our knife skills video. So cutting boards, check. Okay, next up, knives. Really, honestly, there is a knife block behind you with so many knives, but as long as you have what's called a chef knife and a little baby paring knife, that's really all you need in the kitchen. You may want to have a bread knife, which has the teeth, the serrated edges, but two basic knives, a little one to cut smaller things, to get in there to do the little fine detail work, and a nice chef knife that has a good blade, a good heavy handle, and something that's going to help you stay safe in the kitchen while getting all your cutting jobs done. So chef knife, paring knife, really all you need. What's next? Measuring cups and measuring spoons. Get them anywhere you can, doesn't matter. These include all the way down to 1/8 of a teaspoon, and I actually think somewhere in that drawer there's a 1/16 of a tablespoon or of a teaspoon, which I don't use. But I would say as long as you've got a 1/4 teaspoon, a 1/2 teaspoon, this is 3/4, you don't necessarily need it because you can do the math and use the 1/4, a teaspoon, and a tablespoon. So as long as you've got those four, a 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, 1 teaspoon, and a tablespoon, you're good to go. I like these ones. They actually snap together with magnets. So if you're a household that tends to lose things or you want to keep everything together, it's kind of cool because they weight together and stick together. So that's measuring spoons. We use that for spices. We use that for smaller measurements. Whereas with the measuring cups, here we go. Nice set of measuring cups. Your 1 cup is important. If it has a 3/4 cup, important. But as long as you've got the 1/4 cup, you can certainly do a 1/4 cup, a 1/4 cup, or 2 of these make a 1/2 cup, 3 of these make 3/4 of a cup. It's math. I had to think about it for a second. So as long as you've got a cup, a 1/4 cup, a 1/2 cup, you should be good to go. But measuring cups are excellent. These are dry, usually for dry ingredients. I'm going to show you another set of measuring cups that typically are for wet ingredients. Let me go grab those. I'm back. I had to go grab the ones that hold liquids. So these would traditionally be a measuring cup that would hold liquids that we would pour. Milk and water and broth and all of those items, obviously because they have a handle and a pour spout. This one holds 4 cups. This is 2 cups. This is 1 cup. I teach cooking, so I have all of them. And then this one's really handy because it's got cups on one side, ounces on one side, and milliliters on the other side, and each way has a pouring spout, and it's easy to handle because it just feels like you're holding a drinking glass. So if you just need one, my best bet is a 2-cupper. So you probably want to have dry measure and a 2-cup glass pourable liquid measure. And that rounds out the measuring cup department. Set those here, we'll set these over here. Moving on, we're mixing. Okay, we're mixing. I think a kitchen really only needs 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, also, wait, there's one more thing. Tongs. 5 things. If you could have 5 things in your accessory or tools drawer, tongs. Awesome for tonging things. If you need to flip things over, if you're frying bacon, if you are picking things up that need a little bit of grip and a little bit of detail, a good easy set of tongs, basic and necessary. A wooden spoon. Maybe it's not funky and wavy like this one, but a good wooden spoon to really get in there if you're making pasta sauce or if you're making a dough or a batter. This, my friends, is a spoon that's been around for maybe, dare I say, thousands of years. A wooden spoon is kind of what started it all. Got replaced by a spatula, but these 2 tools, I would say, used all the time in the kitchen. Now, I don't use a wooden spoon as much as I use a spatula. I honestly think that if somebody said to me, you can pick one utensil in the kitchen, this would be it. I have so many of them. It is silicone, which means it's heat proof, which means it can go in a hot pot, it can stir, it's not going to melt. It could even go in the oven up to a certain temperature. So a silicone, rubber silicone spatula, dollar store, any kitchen store, any big box store, grocery stores sell them. A kitchen spatula that's made of silicone is your best friend in the kitchen. This is also called a spatula, but this would be like a flipper for pancakes, for lifting under something. So having a spatula for mixing and blending and stirring, but also having a flipper type spatula is a good basic tool. That almost flew on the floor. A whisk, really important, great to have in the kitchen. Some people have flour sifters. I don't even really own a flour sifter. I use a whisk. So whisk would be to whisk dry ingredients, muffins, cakes, cookies, bread. This is a whisk. Whisking also to make whipped cream, to make scrambled eggs, to make anything that you need to whip or aerate or add air to, you want to whisk. Peeler, veggie peeler, potato peeler. Do not spend a lot of money on a peeler. Some of the best peelers we've ever had cost $1 or $2, and they're amazing. I will say all of these things that I'm showing you, I hand wash. I actually try not to put them in the dishwasher. The glass liquid measures, definitely I put in the dishwasher, but your knives, never ever put in the dishwasher. Cutting boards, yes, they can go in. Measuring cups and spoons, I wash by hand. And everything you see here, I pretty much dishwasher except wooden spoons, I would not put in the dishwasher. We'll talk more about that as we continue on. The last, I want to call it a utensil, kitchen utensil. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Can opener. I fight with can openers. I have a real love-hate relationship with can openers. This is a KitchenAid one, and it works, and I love it, and it's easy. You want it to snap onto the can and twist beautifully. You don't want to fight with it. Get a good can opener. You'll be happy you did. So that rounds out my utensil basics. Moving on to things that are a little more pricey, but great to have in the kitchen. The first is a mixer. This is an electric. This happens to be cordless. Most mixers have a cord, an extension that you would plug in. This is just an electric hand mixer. So it's if I don't want to spend the time with my whisk and arm muscle power, you would use a set of electric hand mixers. Beaters, sometimes we call them. They're great. The attachments pop out, pop in and out. You can get ones with different attachments. This is pretty standard. I would use this to make cookies, make a cake batter. Great to have in the kitchen. You can also use a stand mixer. I don't know if you can see that one behind me. Definitely it is an investment, but if you love to bake, it's a wonderful, wonderful tool to have in the kitchen. Qu'est-ce que c'est? This is a colander. We use a colander to wash berries, to drain pasta, to rinse things because you see all the little holes. This sits down in the sink. Sometimes I treat that as my compost or my garbage bowl, a great receptacle for things. Great thing to have in your kitchen toolbox. Next up, a grater, a box grater. Cheese grater, bigger cheese grater, finer cheese grater, weird shredded cheese grater, funky design grater. It's a box grater. I learned really recently, I saw someone on, I don't know, TikTok or somewhere who said, you actually should grate your cheese that way with it laying down, which I didn't ever do, but it's got this grippy handle. If you can find one that's got that rubber grip, it gives you a little more stability. And of course you would put this on a cutting board or a piece of parchment paper just to catch everything that's underneath. This guy I've had for many, many, many years, and I do put it in the dishwasher, but if you can, maybe wash it by hand. Anything that you wash by hand will last longer. It's a fact. Cookie sheet, cooling rack, great to have. This is an oldie, but a goodie. It's a baking sheet or a cookie sheet. They're the same thing pretty much in our world. And this is a cooling rack. Now this happens to be pretty tiny. I obviously have bigger ones, but great to have cooling racks, great to have a couple of cookie sheets or baking sheets in your kitchen toolbox. And then the final thing, honestly, I'm looking around trying to think if I'm forgetting anything basic, would just be some bowls. Obviously there are a ton of bowls. Metal, stainless steel, easy, different sizes. I would say you definitely want to have maybe a little guy, medium sized, maybe a little bit bigger. Now these really monster sized ones I do love, because if I'm making bread dough or if it's summer and I'm doing big salads, a great big bowl like this is pretty fantastic. Or let's be honest, maybe it's a weekend and we're just making a big old bowl of popcorn. Having a nice big bowl helps. Now, in all of the classes that you will take with me, you won't see these bowls. I actually have glass bowls that live right here. Glass bowls I like only because you're able to see what I'm doing through the bowl, but at home it doesn't matter. A stainless steel bowl, honestly, when I am not teaching a class, this, that's my go-to bowl right there. $5 bowl, best ever. So find the basic kitchen tools, get yourself set up for success. If a recipe calls for a tool that you don't understand or you don't know what that is, please reach out to us, ask the questions, hello@cookwithmeg.com, or reach out to the Red Deer Food Bank because they will be able to help you out. And I think I've covered basics, the kitchen basics. It's called our Kitchen Accessory or Supplies Basic 101. We're still working on the name for this, but you understand. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoy this series, which teaches us all the basics, and we'll talk to you soon. See you at the stove. Remember, we are awesome.